In a bizarre twist, former President Donald Trump is now claiming that he didn't have to support the Constitution while he was in office. Yes, you heard that right. He's arguing that he only had to preserve, protect, and defend it. According to Trump and his legal team, there's a world of difference between supporting and defending. This audacious argument is part of his attempt to get a lawsuit filed against him in Colorado thrown out. The lawsuit is seeking to disqualify him from the ballot based on the 14th Amendment. Needless to say, this interpretation of the presidential oath is causing quite a stir and raising eyebrows. It's certainly going to spark some heated debate and scrutiny. Who knew that one little word could cause so much trouble? The amendment, ratified way back in 1868, covers a bunch of important stuff like citizenship and equal protection under the law. And here's the juicy part. It also says that people who have tried to overthrow the Constitution can't hold public office. Well, a non-profit organization called Crew is arguing that Trump's shenanigans before and during the Capitol insurrection count as a rebellion against the Constitution. They're trying to use this 14th Amendment to kick him off the ballot in Colorado. But hold on. Trump's legal team has come up with a new twist. They're saying that the 14th Amendment doesn't actually say how to disqualify someone based on rebellion or insurrection. And get this, they're making a big fuss about the fact that the presidential oath doesn't specifically say you have to support the Constitution. This legal move by Trump is causing quite the stir and has everyone scratching their heads. I mean, the whole concept of what it means to be a US president is being called into question here. We all know the presidential oath includes the promise to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. But what does that really entail? Trump is shaking things up by suggesting that this oath only means he has to stick to the text of the Constitution and not necessarily go all in on its principles and values. Now, that's one way to interpret it, but it's definitely not what we're used to. After all, the Constitution isn't just some old document with fancy words. It embodies the whole shebang of fundamental principles, rights, and the rule of law. It's a package deal, people. So, this lawsuit is about to get real interesting as it digs deep into what it truly means to be a president and how we interpret the 14th Amendment. Buckle up, folks. It's gonna be a fascinating ride. This court battle is going to be one for the books. It's shining a spotlight on the never-ending legal disputes and divisions that sprouted from the crazy events of January 6, 2021. The argument being made about the president's duties is quite out of the box, to say the least. We'll just have to wait and see how the court decides on this one. You can bet your last dollar that legal experts, scholars, and constitutional authorities will chime in on this case. After all, it could have some major implications for how we understand the presidential oath and what it means for the president to support and uphold the Constitution. As this lawsuit unfolds, you can bet it's going to attract loads of attention and scrutiny. And who knows, it might even change the way we define and interpret the role of the highest elected official in America. It seems that Donald Trump has quite the belief in his own invincibility. He thinks that just because he was the president, he's immune from any and all criminal charges. Not so fast, Mr. Trump. The US legal system doesn't play favorites, and it definitely doesn't grant anyone, not even the president, absolute immunity from prosecution. Trump and his legal team tried to argue that the Office of Legal Counsel said he couldn't be indicted while in office, but that's a pretty shaky argument. There's still a lot of debate about whether a sitting president can actually face criminal charges. This whole situation raises some serious questions about accountability and the separation of powers. Are presidents really above the law? It's a contentious issue, especially when you consider that past presidents have had to face legal action while. So, sorry Trump, but your claim of immunity is far from settled law. The most notorious instance is that of President Richard Nixon, who was identified as a co-conspirator in the Watergate incident, but was never charged. In addition, the majority judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Clinton v. Jones in 1997 established that a president in office can be sued in civil court. No one is above the law, not even the president, according to this judgment. Legal experts contend that this precedent also paves the way for possible criminal prosecution. When we look at the Trump-related investigations, the collision trajectory is increasingly clearer. He was confronted with several legal issues after leaving government. These include inquiries into his business operations, financial transactions, and suspected tax evasion. These investigations, which have been carried out by a number of state and municipal prosecutors, seek to ascertain if Trump and his business broke any laws. The Manhattan District Attorney's examination of Trump's financial records is one of the more prominent ones, particularly when the Supreme Court determined that Trump could not withhold his financial information from investigators. the matter attracted a lot of interest. There is a clear conflict between Trump's legal team and the continuing investigations. While prosecutors contend that Trump should be held accountable for any possible crime, his attorneys still make the immunity claim. Deep rifts in the American public have been caused by Trump's assertion of immunity and the conflict with legal precedents. His defenders assert that he is being unfairly singled out, while detractors stress the significance of responsibility and the rule of law. This political and legal minefield emphasizes how complicated the situation is. The tenacity and resiliency of the American judicial system and its capacity to defend the values of justice will be put to the test by Trump's assertion that he is immune from prosecution. The assertion by Donald Trump that he cannot be tried while in office conflicts with established legal precedents, court decisions, and ongoing investigations into his conduct. Presidential immunity is a contentious issue that raises serious concerns about responsibility and the rule of law. Undoubtedly, the judicial system and public conversation in America will continue to change as this legal drama progresses.